So, by popular demand, today's story is going to be probably a little bit longer. I actually want to talk about the fateful summer I went to my dad's and Adam, so you guys know who he is. There's a story that goes with this that I am kind of remiss to tell, but you wouldn't understand the whole thing unless I told it, but it is embarrassing, so we'll get to that. So, I went to my dad's, like I was saying, every summer up until this point. When I turned 15, which was just before my freshman year, I went for that summer, and it ended up being the last summer I saw my dad for a couple of years. When we went there, I still had kitty cat shirts and sweatpants and, all the nerd accoutrements that come with being a nerd. And so basically, when I got there, my brother, who in the book is my older sister, he had gone to live with my dad a couple of years before this, and he and he's gay, okay, and he took one look at me and he was like, "Oh no, 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 no! If you're gonna be hanging out with me and my friends this summer, we're gonna do some stuff." So he forced me to go to the mall. He overhauled all of my clothing, got my hair changed, made me stop wearing my glasses. I did get contacts right after that too. And I looked completely different. And then I started hanging out with him and his friends. Now, we partied a lot, but there was not, as far as meth goes, there wasn't a lot of meth in Albuquerque at the time. There was a little bit here and there, but this was not the first time I did meth. I actually did meth right after I came back from that summer, but I did do a bunch of crazy stuff, which is why it was written in the book the way it is. I got drunk for the first time, and many times after. I smoked a lot of weed also for the first time, and many times after. We just did dumb things like played party games like light as a feather, stiff as a board, and dumb stuff. But one day we're all drunk, and it occurred to them that we should all get matching tattoos. So there was like maybe 6 or 7 people total, and they get some cheap generic ink and just a regular needle. They didn't even wrap a string around the needle, which you're supposed to do to help retain the ink so that it goes into the skin, even when you're doing a hand poke tattoo. And they just did this little cross on everybody. Some people had bigger ones, like on their shoulders, the dudes. But me, I wasn't thinking clearly because I decided to have it put on my left hand. It was right here in the crotch of my left hand, right there, where I got it, and just this little cross, and it was super light because it hurts a lot, and I wanted to fit in so badly, especially considering up until that point I really couldn't fit in anywhere, and so I let them do it. Now I should have, in retrospect, picked a spot that my mother couldn't see so easily. It was a little bit harder to hide than I thought it was going to be, but there it was, that little cross right there that ended up lasting about maybe 4 or 5 months, and eventually the skin peeled off and the layers came back in it, and it came off of there. They didn't get the ink in deep enough because it didn't have the wrap. So not that long after that night, I met Adam. Now, Adam is kind of, he's mostly one person, but he's also a little bit of a second person mixed in that I didn't tell my mom about, but the two go together. The reason he's called Buddy in the book, he goes by Buddy, is because the guy's name was Felipe, and he hated his name, hated it with a passion. He was half Mexican American and half Caucasian, and so everybody called him Grimmy. And Grimmy was his nickname. I didn't even know his real name until way later. And he was super adorable, and we hit it off really good. And of course, the other friends are matchmaking like crazy. They find out I'm a virgin. And so they decided they were going to, since he was a virgin too, they were going to set it up so that we would lose our virginity and get it over with. Which I didn't want to do. I was scared and I was worried, and but I was not about to say I wasn't going to do it because I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be exiled out of the group. So So the time comes and we're all drunk, and they get us back to this back bedroom, which has like an adjoining bathroom and a little hallway that leads to the bathroom back there. And we're kissing a lot, and we're you know taking clothes off. But we got down to the point where I was in a bra and underwear, and he was in his boxers. And you could tell he was like nervous and shaking, and he stops, and he says, "I forgot the condom. I have to go out there and go get it real quick." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. Now, any normal person would have thought about how long they'd been waiting and probably wouldn't have waited for the 30 or 40 minutes that I sat there waiting for him to go get a condom. Um, I finally get up and I'm like looking around, like, what's going on? And I open the door, and the and of course I put my clothes back on at this time, and I open the door and everyone's like starts cheering, and they're like, "Oh my God, you did it!" And it's so funny because I was like, "No, I didn't," and they thought he was still in there with me. So I was like, "This is so crazy." So I went back in there and I'm like, I'm looking in the closet. I'm like, "Is he hiding in the closet? What is going on?" And then I find the bathroom window in the ensuite area open, and it turns out that he got really scared and chickened out and went towards the bathroom, and he jumped out the bathroom window in his boxers, left all his clothes and shoes behind, and ran down the neighborhood in his boxers. We didn't even see him for 3 or 4 days after that. Um, so I had to go back out, and I had to explain to everybody that I lost him. And they're like, "What do you mean you lost him?" And I'm like, "Well, he's gone. He was going to get the condom and he disappeared. I think he jumped out the window though." And they were just like, they started laughing. I was so embarrassed. Like I've never been so red in my whole life. I was like, at first I thought there's something wrong with me, but then I realized they started assuring me after. They were like, "He's scared. He's just scared." Um, and then I was mad at him for embarrassing me and making me look bad. So towards the end of, and this was nearing the end of the summertime, but towards the end of everything, like the last 2 weeks, another one of the friends, Mark, we ended up kind of bonding, and he didn't try to do anything but kiss me, but it was really special to me. So I eventually told my mom about both of those experiences. She only knew about the one years ago. And I think that something intuitively about her kind of mixed the two personalities, and she did that a lot. I was really surprised about a lot of her intuitions. But um, so that was the summer that I first started getting crazy, that I did anything at all. I started smoking cigarettes. Also, I did a lot of crazy stuff, but I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be someone that wasn't ridiculed and made fun of all the time. And I know that is something that strikes a chord for a lot of people. And sometimes you're willing to just kind of go on that extra ledge just to fit in and feel good about yourself. And so, yeah. So, um, my dad, of course, I have mentioned this before, but he actually worked as a cable guy, and I used to, when I was little and stuff, when I went up there for the summer, I would go out in his truck with him and help him sell cable, and I was really proud of my abilities to sell people cable packages. And but again, he was no saint. He did a lot of things in front of me that he shouldn't have done. And what happened was, so I went back home, and my mom noticed the change in me, and that's where our the trouble started. So it definitely stemmed from that summer, um, for sure, for sure, absolutely. But again, it was a little bit more gradual than the books led on, just because, again, I think she was trying to develop the story just a little bit faster, because otherwise it would have just dragged out for way too long. So, but yeah, just after this is when I came back, and then I started, as soon as I came back, because I looked so different. Before the summer was completely over, we went back to school. Uh, Actually, he's one of my friends on my friends list. I'm not going to say who it is because, again, I don't have his permission to throw him out there. But he started putting secret admirer letters in my mailbox, and at first I thought it was a joke because I've been through a lot of terrible hazes, and um, So after the third one or so, when there was an actual, like a beautiful drawing of a dragon in there and stuff, I started to be like, well, maybe I should take this seriously. Maybe he's actually serious. And then we ended up meeting up and we ended up dating for a little while. Um, but it was an entire year before I actually lost my virginity after all that, when it's all said and done. So, um, but that's who Adam was. Adam, Buddy, was Grimmy and a little bit of Mark mixed in. And again, as far as that goes, that was the summer that everything changed for me. But I fought it a little bit, and I tried to change it, and I did actually end up getting high with my dad not that long after, which is a story for another day. I can't keep us on here forever, but at least you know a little bit about this summer. I had a lot of fun. I came into my own a lot, and it was really good for me. Everyone else thought it was bad, but it was the best summer of my life. It really was. I had a lot of fun, and I was very happy to have pulled out of some of the shackles that I felt like I had on me up until that point. Okay. So it's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys don't make fun of me for that story. I I came out with it, but I don't really tell a lot of people that story. Just remember, please share like crazy. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like whenever you can. I need to get all the exposure that I can. I'm trying my best to grow. I want to write the full story down, every little detail in a book from before it started. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and also all the way through and long after. I want to write my story. So, but the only way to do that is to get exposure, to get out there and to really be able to show that people are interested. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Now, I might not see you over the weekend. I will do my best. If I find a moment to make a quick video over the weekend where I have some quiet time, I will. But the chances of my little guy giving me that time are very slim. So if nothing else, at the very latest, I will be back with you on Monday. And again, if I get a stolen moment, I will do my best. All right. Thanks, guys, and I will see you soon.